Hello and welcome to Reality Check. Protests against the Citizenship Act are spreading across the country. And in several instances, as we found even today in Delhi, they are turning violent. Now, in the middle of this volatile national mood, the government is planning to bring the next step of its citizenship drive, the even more controversial nationwide register of citizens. Similar to the exercise conducted in Assam, meant to weed out infiltrators and decide who is Indian or not.
सारे रिफ्यूजी को, सारे शरणार्थियों को नागरिकता दिया जाएगा, उसके बाद में एनआरसी बनेगी। इसलिए जो शरणार्थी है उसको चिंता करने की जरूरत नहीं है, घुसपैठियों को जरूर चिंता करने की जरूरत है। आप क्रोनोलॉजी समझ लीजिए, पहले सीएबी आने जा रहा है, सीएबी आने के बाद एनआरसी आएगा और एनआरसी सिर्फ बंगाल के लिए नहीं आएगा, पूरे देश के लिए आएगा।
But how will the NRC, which is in a sense the real cause of public alarm, carrying it with the fear of excluding millions of Indian Muslims, going to actually work? The government has been very cagey with details, but its own records indicate that a national population register is to be the first step in setting the stage for a pan-India NRIC, a National Register of Indian Citizens. The NRIC was floated under the first NDA government of Prime Minister Vajpayee, the brainchild of the then Home Minister L.K. Advani, to identify illegal migrants. But after the UPA came to power, the project was shelved. Now, as it gets set to be revived, the first step, as we mentioned, is the National Population Register, which the government has notified in July this year to begin in April next year. Which is why Mamata Banerjee, Chief Minister West Bengal, has blocked work on the NPR in West Bengal. In a circular issued on Monday, it says all activities regarding the preparation updation of the NPR are hereby stayed in the state of West Bengal. Now, her critics, including the BJP, have condemned this, saying what's the big deal with the NPR? And on the face of it, the NPR does seem relatively innocuous. It's part of the census exercise conducted every 10 years. It is described on the government website as a register of residents of the country. The government says it is mandatory for every usual resident of India to register in it. A usual resident is defined as a person who has resided in a local area for the past 6 months or more, or a person who intends to reside in that area for the next 6 months. The last NPR was conducted in 2010, updated in 2015. It demands details like Aadhaar, PAN, mobile voter ID card and driving license, but these do not appear to be mandatory. But where the NPR diverges from the census is that it asks for the nationality of the person, and if Indian, asks for passport details. It also asks where your parents were born, in India or outside. Now, this is interesting. The seeking of passport details and the place of parents' birth is a new addition to the latest National Population Register. It was not part of the 2010 questionnaire. So, in 2010, parents' place of birth was not sought. Now in 2019, parents' place of birth is being sought, as is passport details. It's not clear whether it's mandatory to provide passport details as a claim of nationality. The NPR, however, does clarify that nationality is self-declared and therefore it doesn't confer citizenship. Okay, but here's the big worry. The NPR will create a wider catchment of residents who will be filtered through the rules of the Advani-era NRIC to determine who is an Indian citizen and who is not. In brief, the data collected under the NPR will, under the National Register of Citizens, be verified by government authorities, and the NRC's rule says those whose citizenship is doubtful after verification will be subject to further inquiry. It also allows for a claims and objections process. Now, this has sparked concerns, because there have been no rules framed to define who is a doubtful citizen, who is a doubtful foreigner. And the claims and objections process, I beg your pardon, may lead to name calling and people attempting to settle political or communal scores, as we saw in Assam. But regardless, it appears that the ship of a National Register of Citizens has entered the waters. And exactly where it is going to go is the big question. All right, joining us tonight, we have with us Shoaib Danial, Assistant Editor, Scroll.in. Aman Vadood, human rights lawyer, joining us from Guwahati. Dinesh Trivedi, senior leader of the Trinamool Congress, joining us from Kolkata. And we'll also be having Vivek Reddy of the BJP is joining us on the show. Thank you all so much for joining us. Let me first go across to Shoaib Danyal, assistant editor, Scroll.in. By a happy coincidence, Scroll has broken a very similar story today on their website. I have to say, in clarification, that we have not pinched Scroll's story. I did tweet out what we were planning to do on the show tonight much earlier in the afternoon, but we're very happy to have been scooped by Scroll. But Shoaib Danyal, now, as your story also points out, that I think the fundamental thing for people to understand is that the assumption is that this National Population Register is a sort of harmless routine exercise. It's conducted as part of the census. But the concern is that it links to the NRIC, and that's where the concern steps in. That's where there is the anxiety about who it's going to include and who it's going to exclude.
Yeah, Vasu, the real trick here is that the census and the NPR are conducted at the same time, but that's it. That's where the census and the NPR diverge. The legal framework for the census is the Census Act 1948, but the NPR is conducted under the Citizenship Act of 1955, which was amended in 2003 by the Vajpayee government, right?
Yes.
And as per the 2003 rules framed for that amendment, it's very clearly given that the data collected via the NPR will feed into what forms, as you just mentioned, the National Register of Indian Citizens,
Yes.
or as we lovingly call it, the National Register of Citizens, that is the NRC, right? And there is a very clear claims and verification process here. There is a very clear, claims and objections process. There is a very clear verification process.
Yeah.
So it's the data collection is different from the Assam NRC. Remember, the Assam NRC, you went to the Assam NRC, you gave them your
Correct.
document.
Yes, you submitted your details. Yeah.
Exactly. But on the other hand, that's an exception carved out for Assam in the 2003 rules as per Section 4A.
Yes.
Right? For every other state in the Indian Union, the NRC will come to you in the form of the NPR.
Yes.
So, as you just mentioned, the NRC is underway right now. I can speak for West Bengal. It might be similar in other states of the union. The training for the NPR has already started, and now it's been stayed by the Mamata Banerjee government. And I also wanted to just put on record that the Mamata Banerjee government has stayed it. It has not stopped work.
Right.
It's a bit of a technical difference, but I think it's a significant difference. Because right now, a junior official has passed an order,
Right.
Citing a law and order, citing the sort of CAB and NRC protests. But this could also be unstayed at any time.
But, one thing though, Shoaib, just to simplify it for our viewers, because otherwise you get lost in the detail. I think what we're trying to get to here is, what is the cause for concern? Where could there be misuse? Where could there be this fear of exclusion? And as we were saying in our report, that the National Register of Citizens or the National Register of Indian Citizens, NRIC, has this entire clause about any individual whose citizenship is doubtful. I'm now holding up the rules of the NRIC. Is doubtful shall be entered by the local registrar with appropriate remarks, and then they will be subject to an inquiry.
Exactly.
Is this where the concern comes in?
So I'm going to quickly do two things. One is, in the 2003 amendment, a category of illegal migrant was created. Till now, you did not have anything called an illegal migrant in India. You had Indians and you had foreigners. I mean, that was it.
Right.
What this creates, it creates a category of doubtful citizenship.
Yes.
These are the exact terms in the 2003 rules.
Yes.
Now, what is really alarming and what is scary is that nowhere is it defined who or what a doubtful citizen is, right? We don't know what it is. And so much has been left to rules. Now, rules, remember, just to remind our viewers, rules are orders framed by the government. It's not voted on in parliament.
Yeah.
And rules can be changed at the drop of a hat, right? So this is problem number one. Problem number two is we saw how arbitrary and all over the place the Assam NRC was.
Yes.
Take that and multiply it, multiply it by whatever factor you want, because here at least the Assam NRC had a explicit set of rules, documents and processes and cutoff date and so on as per the Assam Accord. Here we have nothing, right? So it's
Yes,
a babu in the union government will decide whether you and I are citizens
In fact,
of India or not.
right, that's a good point to bring in, Aman, because Aman, now we are beginning to see the shape of the nationwide NRC. As Shoaib mentioned, it looks like the boat has entered the water, the preparations have begun. What can we learn from the Assam experience? Because we saw the trauma that people went through for almost 2 years. They went through this massive process. At the end of it, a fraction of the population was excluded. Now it could be even less if they go to the foreigners tribunal. I mean, having seen the framework of this, of how the nation, the sort of national NRC is shaping up, what do you think the lessons are from Assam?
I really don't know what lesson can you take from Assam, because this government want to scrap the Assam NRC and want to implement all over again along with the nationwide NRC. Because this NRC in Assam was mandated by the Honorable Supreme Court, and I think the entire process was very harsh, very stringent, tough, but it was largely fair. That is why only 1.9 million people have been excluded. Now this government want to bring implement it again so that they can exclude as many people as possible. That could be the only reason why they want to scrap a Supreme Court mandated NRC. Now, Shoaib have very in detail he have explained what exactly is the problem here. The problem here will be, if you read the Rule 4, Sub-Rule 4, it says that the particular collected during the NPR, so there an appropriate remark will be there if at all that person is a doubtful citizen or not. And that there will be further inquiry, further verification based, even after the name comes in the NRC, any person can go and file an objection against you. After the objection process is over, there will be another round of verification and hearing. Then the objector can go and file an appeal against that order. So there will be an endless harassment, endless verification process. And we have seen in Assam how people can be harassed. People were sent notice 12 hours before to go to a place which is 500 kilometers away for verification process.
So this was just for one state. This was just for a small population. Imagine scaling it up. Vivek Reddy, this is the whole point. I mean, you really want to go ahead with this? You're already seeing the fires lit by Citizenship Amendment Bill. You're now going to venture into a national NRC. The rules have not even been clearly outlined. You've already seen what happened in Assam. In fact, you've junked the Assam NRC and you want to risk a national NRC.
Well, I think, Vasu, first of all, the rules are yet to be framed. We don't know when the government is going to implement the national NRC, but the government has committed itself to implement it. Let us say that to that extent we can agree. But the timing is still uncertain, still not clear. This is number one. Second is, so far as the rules are concerned, the rules will be framed and there will be clarity regarding the process. A formatted process will be set out. The third thing is why I disagree with Aman is, well, there is an objection and appeal process. An objection and appeal process cannot be treated as a process of harassment. Well, it is a process where they try and prove and show their citizenship. But the most
Vivek,
important thing, Vasu,
Vivek, the only...
why did this all about? Why did all this come about?
No, Vivek, I only want to say this is exactly what happened in Assam. What you're describing is what happened in Assam, but your government has junked that. You guys said we don't want it. We reject it.
Yes.
Let's not get into the reasons why you rejected it.
Yes.
But you rejected it. Now you're repeating this at scale.
Correct.
Without, at least in Assam, with the NRC, you knew exactly what you had to prove and what you didn't. You had a document, you had everything laid out. Here we don't even know. And then you ask why people are angry,
Well,
why
the
are
issue
people on
is,
the road?
Vasu, why are we undertaking? Right. Okay, will you allow me to now just answer all these issues?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
First of all, why did the entire concept of National Population Register or National Register of Citizens come about? The reason was there was millions of illegal migrants who had entered India from Bangladesh. It was obvious. Now, the second issue was
It's
when the
not
resources
obvious.
of this nation are limited, these illegal migrants had obtained voter cards and were almost equal to citizens of India and were also
My dear
responsible
Vivek,
for the leakage
my
of
dear
much of the
Vivek,
resources of India.
my dear Vivek,
So
we've
that's
been
why,
down this. My
that's
dear
why
Vivek,
it was necessary.
my dear Vivek, we've been
That's
down
why
this
it was
road before.
necessary.
I can ask you the same
That's
question I
why-
asked you
yes.
earlier. Hold on, Vivek. I can ask you the same
Yes.
question I asked you earlier. Give me a number.
Yes.
How many illegal migrants are there in India?
Well, that will be determined after we undergo the exercise. Was Vasu there at the borders of Bangladesh to monitor it?
But
It was
Vivek,
done under the earlier Congress
you're-
regime.
no, but
where they
Vasu is
allowed
not making
huge,
the claim.
Huge hordes of people to get
Vivek,
in
but
for
Vasu
their
is
vote
not
banks.
making the claim of millions of outsiders. You are. But you can't just throw out a number without having the facts.
That is because
So
neither
you're
Vasu
conceding,
saw.
you're conceding
that
you
is
don't have a
because-
number, and
that
that's
is
my whole
because
problem.
Neither Vasu saw nor Vivek Reddy saw. It has been done under the earlier Congress regime.
Well,
the whole of the Assam
I mean-
agitation was because of these illegal migrants.
Okay, look,
It
look,
was
look.
in huge
I-
numbers.
that's
it was in millions.
that's a separate
and they
story.
have scattered themselves throughout India.
Vivek, you do understand that
Now
the
the
same
question
argument.
is, should
the-
not there be a register?
my dear friend,
which
you
ensures
understand that the same
this
argument
nation
fell
and
flat
its
in
citizens
Assam.
are protected through the
Vivek,
register.
in your own state, in Assam, you made the same argument.
Yes.
Millions, billions, trillions. Finally excluded came to 19
Correct.
lakh, which may fall even
Yes.
half because the foreigners tribunal have a strike rate of 50%. That may fall to 10 lakh. That's 3% of the population. And a good number
Well,
of
there
those,
could
as
be
you
two
know, are
reasons
members
for
of the
that.
majority community
There
who
could
you
be
don't
two
even
reasons
consider
for that.
illegals. So,
One-
I mean, really.
Yes.
But Shoaib,
No, there could be two reasons for that.
Okay.
One is the faulty process. Other is many of the migrants may have dispersed to different parts of India.
okay. Shoaib,
But
but
the
you know,
point
we're
is,
moving.
Vasu,
Yeah.
whatever the process,
Okay.
isn't it incumbent on the nation
Yeah.
that illegal migrants are to be sent back to their nation? Isn't it incumbent on the nation?
I mean, who could ever, no one is even arguing against that. But Shoaib,
That's
the
the
point where they're
mandate of the
missing in all
parliament.
this, one sec, Shoaib, the point we're missing in all this
Yes.
is the fact that why is the NRC creating such a fear, quite apart from the whole procedural aspect of it, is because with the CAB, it essentially instrumentalizes a direct discrimination against Muslims, right? So,
Yep.
so now that we have this broad blueprint, how do you see that, I mean, in a sense, reinforcing that fear?
Yeah, so as Mr. Amit Shah, the Union Home Minister, has pointed out time and time again, especially when he comes to West Bengal, he points out that the NRC will not apply to Hindus because there will be a CAB before that, right? And so this is, when the protests that we're seeing now, right? There's a lot of fog around these protests. The protests are not really against the CAB. It's against the fact that the CAB and the NRC have been linked by the Union Home Minister himself. And it's now there is this fear amongst many people in India, especially amongst the minorities, that they will be the only one who is rung through this incredibly torturous bureaucratic procedure that we've already got a trailer in Assam. So, I mean, this is it, right? I mean, and you know what Mr. Reddy said, I mean, just to give you a small example, right? Now, Mr. Reddy says we should stand at the India-Bangladesh border and count people coming in. Is that how a union of 1.3 billion people is run, or is it run according to the law, according to data, according to fact? This is, I'm really sorry to say, but a small company would sort of run ashore if
Right.
it was run in such an arbitrary manner,
Yeah.
without any rule of law, without any order, without any data, without any data-driven decision making.
Right.
To do this for the Indian Union, which is 1.3 billion strong, is
Yeah.
alarming.
Okay,
Right? That we
but-
will stand at the border and physically count people coming in. That is what Mr. Reddy's solution is to
Right.
do the problem.
Right, but Aman, again, now taking this away from the more theoretical or the abstract manner of the design of it to the implementation of it, same question to you, that NRC is, so CAB first and foremost is going to quote unquote meant to protect the Hindus who've been caught in the NRC web in Assam. That's how the BJP has pitched it. Yes?
Absolutely. See, the CAA, the Citizenship Amendment Act, should not be read in isolation. Whatever you said is absolutely correct. But like Mr. Amit Shah have time and again said that, chronologically, if you see, first come the CAB, then the nationwide NRC.
Yes.
So let us read CAA with the nationwide NRC.
Yeah.
Now what will happen? What will happen when a nationwide NRC is implemented, when according to Rule 4, Sub-Rule 4 of the Citizenship Rule 2003, the local register will doubt citizenship of an individual, a citizenship of a non-Muslims will not be doubted, because it would be beyond reasonable doubt that because CAA have granted citizenship to all illegal migrants of non-Muslim community, so there is no non-Muslim who are left who are illegal migrants. So only community who will be targeted is the Muslim community, right? That is what happened here also.
So is that Vivek?
1.3 crore people were marked as original inhabitant. 1.3 crore people were marked as original inhabitant. Hardly anyone was there
I don't know, Vasu.
from the Muslim
Right.
community. They did not go through any of documents.
Okay, let me come to Vivek. Let me come to Vivek.
BJP spokesperson who
Let me come to
know,
Vivek.
Vasu.
acknowledge
Vasu.
that people have suffered here during the verification process.
Right. Okay.
He
Vasu.
don't agree with me,
Okay.
but at least go and listen to
I don't
all
know
Hindus.
what-
how much they have suffered.
Vivek. No, I'm coming to you, Vivek. Again, Vivek, the point is that you're saying, rules will come, don't worry. The point is that regardless of what the rules are, it's only going to impact one community. That's how you've designed this entire sequence. Amit Shah is saying it constantly. No one else is saying. He's saying it. So the entire set of 6 religions are
this
excluded.
is the fear mongering.
Oh, how is it fear mongering? We just heard him say it himself. He said, here is the timeline. First comes CAB,
Allow me
then
to
comes NRC,
explain.
and these 6 religions are not going to
Sir,
come
you
under
are scaring
NRC.
us. You are scaring us. The fear mongering is propagated by you, sir. Sorry to say. You are
Can I
not
just
even
come
ready to
in?
acknowledge that people have suffered here.
Okay,
I'm
Vivek.
really sorry,
Aman.
sir.
Yeah, Vivek,
Please
come.
listen.
Please
listen.
Aman, let him speak. Aman, let him speak. Go ahead. Vivek, go
You have
ahead.
not even allowed me to reply.
Go ahead, Vivek. Go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Vasu.
Yes.
Yes. Vasu.
Yes.
It is very simple.
Yes.
The opposition and some commentators in the media like Aman and
Yes.
like the previous respected panelist who is here
Sure, yes.
are prone to exaggerate the fears about Muslim targeting or about a community.
No,
Let me
Vivek.
tell you,
I have to
Indian
say,
citizens,
let me
whoever
disclose
they
this
are,
openly.
irrespective of religion.
I
Allow me to
also
complete,
feel the
Vasu.
same way.
Whoever they are, irrespective of religion, are protected.
How?
Indian citizens, whoever they are, whichever religion, they are protected.
Sir, please give me,
The issue
please
is
give me
this.
an opportunity to
When
respond. You have
an
accused me,
NRC
I have to
exercise is
respond. I will have to respond.
undertaken,
How, Vivek?
under the exercise,
Yes.
when the NRC exercise is undertaken,
Yes.
during that exercise, you will have a process of filing objection.
Right.
You will have a process of proving the citizenship before an independent authority.
Okay.
Then you will have an opportunity.
Okay, I just want to
file
cut
an
in because we
appeal.
finally
After
have.
the finality of the appeal, you will
Okay,
be able
okay.
to go
Dinesh
to the High
Trivedi.
Court. You will be able to go
Okay,
to,
I
go to the
just have
division
time to
bench.
go across to
You will be
Dinesh
able to
Trivedi.
take the appeals up to the Supreme Court.
Who unfortunately
There
could
are
only join
five-
us at the last minute. Vivek, just a second. Dinesh Trivedi, unfortunately, you couldn't join us for the duration of the show, but if you tell us very quickly, you basically blocked the national population register in your state. BJP says you're spreading fear.
Let me first tell you, I've been sitting here for last 30 minutes. I think there's some technical problem. That's why you couldn't get me.
Yes, I apologize for that.
No problem. Having said that, I've been listening to your 30 minutes confusion. I mean, you're talking about framing the rules, you're forming up about appeal, you're talking about objection.
Yes.
Can you understand that the poorest of the poor? There are so many people who cannot even have 2 square meal.
Right.
And you are trying to say that they will have objection, and you are trying to say that they will have legal system.
Right.
I think you're mad, absolutely brain drain. I can tell you, first of all, I'm very happy to say that India is not a kingdom.
Right.
And please understand, you and I are not subjects. this country belongs to the people.
Okay.
Of the people, for the people, by the people.
Dinesh
Tomorrow you
Trivedi.
can frame the rules. No. First of all, tomorrow you can frame the rules. And let's
I-
take the blood sample of everybody, and
Okay,
the
I'll
blood
co-
sample will decide you're a citizen or you're not.
Okay,
citizen.
Dinesh Trivedi,
It is
I
absurd.
only
India will
have to
not
cut
accept
you off
this.
because we are completely over time. I promise you we will make up for this and we'll have you back with a full show. Because of this technical thing, we couldn't spend more time with you. We have to leave it there. We will continue to track the story. Thank you all so much.